Hey everyone, Shawn Clement here at the gorgeous Royal Quebec Golf Club. And today we're talking about, if we look at the round 3 at the PGA Championship, a lot of very interesting things are happening. And I want to point you to 2 of them. One is Brooks Koepka'S blocks. Notice this, after the second day, he was working very hard at not repeating those blocks. And that didn't work out too well, did it? Because he and his coach were barking up the wrong tree insofar as what they needed to do to stay on task. And if you look at Jordan Spieth, his 2-way misses, that is very much the same as what was happening with Brooks, except turbocharged. So the 2-way misses that Jordan was going through is just very, very unnecessary. And it really reflects the kind of teaching that is happening today. And we're gonna, hopefully with this video, it'll enlighten you as to what you need to work on. So let's start with Brooks Koepka having success with the draws. So you notice here on this particular shot, he's hitting a nice draw into the green. He's aiming at the flagstick and releasing to the center of the green and drawing it back to the flagstick very, very successfully. Now this very next shot, he's on a par 3 and he's trying to fade the ball into that pin. He's got the fade stance, but the ball position's just a little bit back of center. It's a little too far back of where it should be. And you could see the ball starts off. I could see it, even though it was down the line, I could see that ball position didn't match because I see these things on a regular basis and I got the eye for it. So he blocks it to the right of the green and it'll push fade and he ends up in the rough, got up and down very nicely. And there's where he really saved his round. The way he was playing and blocking his tee shots into the trees and into the right rough all day and coming off with an even par round of golf, he's going to be impossible to beat tomorrow. Impossible. So if he could just now have fun and stay with his targets, you'll notice the shot he hit on that par 3 17th, Jordan Spieth, big blocks. You look at where Jordan Spieth was standing on that shot. He's on the left side of the tee box and he's trying to draw it in there. And it really isn't the draw pin. It's on the right-hand side of the green. So he plain just blocks it right into the right bunker. And you look at Brooks, sets up beautifully to the center of the green, releases to the center of the green and plays a fade up against that flagstick. That's the way to go about it. He did that on his second shot on 18 as well, even though he had a beautiful draw off the tee. So when the time came and he knew his flight plan and he stuck to his flight plan, he was flawless. But then when he wasn't sure or something was off at address and he didn't know what it was and he went at it anyways, I'm sure he's kicking himself for that block on that par 3. So here's what we need to do. How do you stay with your shot? And this is what I want you to understand. So if you're thinking about a body part and you're trying to make sure that you don't repeat your mistake, and the way Hank Haney says, what's your big miss and how do we avoid your big miss? To me, that's like saying, hey, there's a rattlesnake on the ground, be careful, don't get bit. And then you fall off the cliff because you're so focused on not getting bit by that rattlesnake. Instead of, well, I'm going to walk that way. And so I avoid the cliff and the rattlesnake. I'm going to go in that direction there. So you're focused on where you want to go, not what you want to avoid. And that's the same thing when we're instructed on how to drive a car, right? My son's doing his car driving ability test right now, and they're showing him that, hey, you don't look at the side of the curve here where you don't want to fall into. You look at where you want to bring your car. Where do you want to drive your car? This is the essence of golf, and this is how this machine works. So if I'm going to hit a fade a little left of the mat here. Notice I'm aiming a little left of the mat. I'm playing the ball a hair forward to center. And I feel now that when I swing in the direction that I'm lined up on, the ball will start in that direction. And because of my ball position, if I play the ball too far back, it feels now that I can't get the ball to move in that direction with a natural swing. It feels like I have to reach back for it. And same here. If the ball's too far forward, I got to reach forward for it. But if I play the ball right there, it feels now that I can stay in the direction I want that ball to go. Now watch what happens if I focus on a body part. I'm thinking about something here, don't fall on the inside, instead of stay in the direction. So if I stay in the direction I want the ball to start, notice how my head stays back. See that? I'm going that way. So now I feel like I'm still moving in that direction. Whereas if I don't stay with that direction, I'll default to the ball. Now I'm ahead of it. Uh-oh. Now that I'm ahead of it, it's very easy to block out to the right because I've moved the center of my swing forward. Now the ball is way back in my stance. Way back in the stance, it's going to block to the right, or I'm going to have to hurry up and hit the ball and square it up before I miss it to the right. That's what Jordan is struggling with. So if he just stays with his targets, remember at the beginning when he first came out on the scene, he was talking about small target, small mistake. Get back to those targets, Jordan, okay? You're fine. Everything else with the swing will fall into place. Instead of putting Band-Aids on all of the misses that you have and thinking about what you need to do to not make those mistakes, why don't you focus on where you want the ball to go and stay with it? On our premium channel, we have some fabulous tasks, and we show you how to stay with your shots to the bitter end. That is what's going to make a big difference. So if I'm playing a little fade here, I'm going to start it toward the red post and fade it toward the blue post. I'm going to aim left of my intermediate point right there. I'm playing the ball in a position that it feels like it's going to stay left. My club face at address, I feel like my grip-club relationship will allow the ball to stay in that direction. Now I got to swing that way. That's not going that way. That's going way too far left. That's going toward the ball. I want to go left of the intermediate point. So, where is that? That's left. That's left. So that started in the direction I wanted to go, and the ball just stayed there. So if I had a fade to the right pin, and I start the ball in that direction, I'm in the center of the green. So all I care about is staying in this direction here. It fits. Still fits, still fits, still fits. Again, started my ball right on the line that I wanted to. So a good task for you to stay with for that fade, let me go get my grass whip real quick. Get yourself one of these little puppies here. So if this was a dandelion and I wanted to cut the stem of the dandelion in that direction, I can't do it from here. That's way too far left, right there. So now it feels like I'm cutting the stem to the left of that intermediate point. So it feels like I'm sawing through the dandelion stem from heel to toe. Look at it from the front here. So aim a little left, ball position a little forward to center, saw through it. Saw through it. So notice my head staying back. If my head moves forward, whoop, now I'm sawing into the ground. So I stick it in the ground, deep, steep, left. So big pull to the left. Notice if I do that, I de-loft the club. That's why pulls go longer, because you've de-lofted the club because you didn't stay with your shot. Simple, simple, okay? So now, if you're going for a draw, and you notice, and this is what's really cool, if you look at my alignment videos, go why you can't align properly, and look at alignment Shawn Clement on YouTube, and how to fix over the top through alignment. Big, big, big video, okay? So look at Brooks with that draw again, and he's aiming for the flag stick, which means that his feet are left of the flag in that left bunker. So if I'm hitting a draw to the blue post, just a little right of red, there's my intermediate point. So you'll notice when I set up parallel to this, my feet are actually going to the red post, not the blue post. And I'm playing the ball a hair back of center. Now it feels like I have access to swing to the right of that intermediate point. So I have to stay in that direction. That's not going that way. That is. So you look at Brooks' takeaway, and you could see his takeaway match the direction he wanted that ball to start. And his delivery through here, and then his release is moving into the center of the green. So if you're lined up left of the green and you're trying to release toward the center of the green, you're going to have a very solid golf swing. But if you're lined up to the center of the green and you're trying to go to the left of the green, sorry, now you have to do this. You have to come over the top. Well, if you go over the top, so I'm aiming too far right, now I got to play the ball forward a bit. Now I have to pull across this way. Well, look, I'm in front of it now. So if I'm in front of it, I'm blocking it to the right and adding a fade to it. There's that block fade, and you're scratching your head going, what the heck did just happen there? That major cause is alignment. So you line up to where you want the ball to end. Blue post, right there. So I'm parallel to that. I'm only focusing on this now. I'm not looking out there. I just need that intermediate point. So I'm parallel, club's in the center. There we go. Now I'm predicting that when I swing in that direction, it feels like the club face is closed enough so it comes back. So now my goal is to just stay that way with the action of my swing. And you notice Brooks' action is beautiful. It's got a nice sling to it. It's a heavy sling. Do you see the size of the pipes on that? That's why I'm training right now. I don't want to, when I'm in the thick rough, I want to be able to get through there. So I want to feel a nice sling in that direction with ease. Perfect. See that ball start to the right? It's drawing beautifully back, and it's just landing between the red and the blue post. Overcooked it just a smidge, but very, very happy with that because that was the flavor I was looking for. So, one more time. Draw. Line up square, ball slightly back. So it would look like this if I'm doing it facing you. I'm lining up square with the mat. There's the center of my heels. So look at the center of your heels, find a perpendicular line to that, and then play the ball a hair back of that. Then you want to be behind that. If I stay here, I can't swing to the right of the intermediate point. Therefore, I'm starting the ball on the flag, and I'll either block it to the right of the green, the right side of the green, or I'll pull it into the bunker. But here it feels like I can, see that? I just bring my swing, my shoulders, hips, and ankles, shoulders, hips, and knees, in a direction where I feel like I can start it just a little right of the line of the mat here. That's it. So if I swing slightly to the right of where I'm aimed, I'm going to have a lovely draw if the club face is closed enough. So for those of you who have a hard time drawing the ball because you're not spinning it to the left, look at my video entitled Hit a Draw, Shawn Clement. Very important for you to really get those hooks going to give your brain that reference of what it feels like to curve the ball to the left with that nice draw compression. And then when it comes to hitting a draw, you won't feel so sheepish about releasing to the right, because most of you go, well, if I release to the right, it's never going to come back. Therefore, the draw is not in your inventory yet. So you need to dance with who you brung. So you got to play your fade all day. So in that event, if the pin is back left and all you have is a fade, you aim for the pin and fade it to the center of the green. If you pull it on the pin, you're fine. If the ball fades back to the center of the green, you're fine, okay? And you'll need to play a little bit, a little bit extra club. So when you're fading the ball, typically the short irons, you're losing about a half club. The wedges, about a full club. And with the long irons, you're actually not losing much. If any, you should basically be hitting about the same distance, okay? Because you get a little more carry with the fade and a little more release with the draw. So that just about covers, what we wanted to talk about. I think that's enough. Stay tuned for my next video, and I'm going to show you how Brooks squares his club with a strong right hand. everybody's been looking at how he bows the left wrist. He's right-handed. And you look at that right hand and you'll see a wonderful video, when they put that swing in 3D, you'll see at the top of the backswing that right hand being in a position that it's in at address, and then I'll show you what happens at the top of his backswing that squares up the club, and it's very, very similar to what Dustin Johnson does. So you'll see the other side of the coin, all right? Can't wait to show it to you. All the best.